Welcome to Cheat Code Nutrition, the podcast where science meets strategy to help you decode your body and unlock next level health. I'm your host, Ellie Young, functional nutrition practitioner and genetic testing nerd, here to guide you through the real root causes of fatigue, stubborn weight, hormonal chaos, and mystery symptoms the traditional system shrugs off. Whether you're optimizing for longevity, performance, or just want to feel like yourself again, you're in the right place. Around here, we don't guess, we test. We use functional lab work, genetic nutrition, and a no BS approach to precision wellness that works with your body, not against it. If you're ready to ditch the one-size-fits-all protocols and start working with your actual blueprint, this is your cheat code. Let's get into it. What's up, everybody? I am back, and I'm here to talk about the secrets to optimizing your GLP-1. Now, these drugs are amazing, but I really want to use this episode to help you go beyond the appetite suppression, beyond the weight loss, because the benefits of these drugs are far-reaching. They're going into brain health, inflammation, bone health, cardiovascular health. And most people, while they might have heard about those headlines and are kind of grasping and maybe even experiencing some of the benefits, they're still not utilizing the foundational things and the behavior change associated with what else needs to happen in order to have these drugs be like longevity medicine for you that is going to go beyond the weight loss, beyond the appetite suppression. And so that's what I want to talk to you about today, because this is the stuff that not a lot of people are talking about. A lot of people are talking about protein and fiber and making sure to not lose your muscle, but they don't talk to you about the behavior change, the reason why that stuff is so hard. These are the same reasons that have plagued you prior to getting on a GLP-1, the same reasons that made weight loss difficult in the beginning. Yes, there are biological reasons going on in your system that were preventing you from losing weight as well. Even if you were trying all the diet and the exercise and the stuff, maybe the consistency wasn't there. Maybe the belief system, maybe your alcohol use was preventing you. There's a lot of factors in here besides just the volume you were eating that were getting you stuck in the first place. And so I want to break down just how powerful these drugs are and how you can utilize them at the minimum effective dose. That is how I use them in my practice, is I work with my clients to keep you on the lowest effective dose and then optimize the metabolism underneath. We work on the behavior change, we work on the nutrition, the foundations, so that you can leverage these like a tool and not just a complete Band-Aid, not as a single thing in your arsenal. And so I want to get into, first off, some of the benefits. I got a lot of cool stats for you today. So check this out. The U.S. obesity rate has fallen in 2022. It was 40%. 40% of the population was obese. It now has dropped to 37% in 2025, dropped 3%. So that is 7.6 million less obese adults. That's incredible. In 2024, only about 5.8% of the population, the US population, was using a GLP-1. In 2025, that number has more than doubled to 12.4%. Wow. Okay. So the growth of the use of these drugs is only getting bigger. More and more people are utilizing them. So, of course, you're going to see all types of results from all types of people, right? When there is something that has such an uptake in the utilization, the massive amount of people using it, you're going to see varying degrees of results. Of course, the abuses of it, and of course, these incredible success stories, right? So, let's address some of the biggest fears that people have around using one of these to kind of put that out there and hope you feel a little bit better. If you've been on the fence or a little curious, I want to kind of dismiss some of these fears for you. So the biggest fear is the loss of muscle, right? There was a big study that came out that said 25 to 40% of the weight lost on these drugs is lean mass. Now, this was blown up to mean muscle mass. So on these DEXA scans, these devices that were trying to scan how much of that your weight loss was bone, muscle, all these things like that, it was all being categorized as lean mass. Now, lean mass is not muscle mass. It is not functional muscle. DEXA scans cannot distinguish between organ mass, water, glycogen, muscle mass infiltrate, which is essentially the fat that is kind of marbling inside of your muscles. And essentially, what these a loss in lean mass could potentially have been revealing was a reduction in a fatty liver. So your liver could potentially be getting healthier metabolically, which is likely what we're seeing when people lose this type of lean mass is their organ was shrinking. Their fatty liver was losing that fat. Their muscle was losing some of the fatty infiltrate, and it was all being categorized as lean mass, which again was misinterpreted and blown up by the media to be muscle mass loss. So here's where this is all kind of getting like finally like cleared up in the media. So new research suggests that GLP-1s may actually preferentially reduce liver mass and non-contractile components within the muscle tissue while preserving the actual contractile machinery that is responsible for strength and function. So again, what does this mean? It is reducing fatty liver, but actually showing that even though the muscle itself was getting smaller because the fat inside the muscle was shrinking, the muscle itself was intact. And even in some studies, they're showing that strength was actually preserved. Again, even though there was a reduction in this lean mass, suggesting that the reduction was actually in the liver mass rather than the muscle. This is so, so important because there was so much fear around, muscle wasting and that GLP-1s uniquely eat muscle. And now here's the thing. This is not a free pass. This does not mean you can't eat your protein. This does not mean you can't be resistance training with any type of weight loss. There is going to be a percentage of that is muscle. That is just the nature on any diet. Any way, shape, or form you lose weight, you're going to lose some muscle mass. But in order to kind of offset that, you still need to train the muscle. You need to feed the muscle and you need to train the muscle. So the best way to do this is still eating your protein and and weight training. Now, a lot of women are weight training with baby weights. We need to up the weight. Again, it doesn't have to be like bodybuilder, maxing out kind of weights, but find a weight that's challenging for you and focus on getting 6 to 8 reps. That is what I do. I work out on my deck. I'm going to talk about exercise a little bit later in this podcast, but again, the fears about losing muscle are largely overstated on this thing. But again, not a free pass. You still need your protein and you still need to train. Train. Another fear was bone loss. So, rapid weight loss of any kind, again, can reduce bone density. This is just physics, okay? Because there is essentially less load or weight on the bone. This makes sense, right? And again, this is an adaptive change. This is not a pathological change. The bones aren't getting brittle. They're not disintegrating because you're on a GLP-1. As you lose weight, there is less weight on the bone. So the bone it doesn't require as much density to hold that weight up. But again, if you are under eating, if you are nutrient deplete and sedentary, of course, you're going to compromise your bones further. But this is not a unique thing to GLP-1s. This is just you not eating enough. Okay. So while there could potentially be bone loss to some degree, here is actually why some new science is coming out saying it's actually potentially beneficial. There are GLP-1 receptors on bone cells, and GLP-1 signaling appears to stimulate the cells that actually build bone. These are called osteoblasts. And at the same time, the signaling can inhibit the cells that break down bone. These are called osteoclasts. Okay, so osteoblasts, B for build. That's how I learned this, and osteoclasts for breakdown. So in theory, they could actually be supporting bone health, and they have actually seen this in mouse studies in rats, actually, with osteoporosis and rats with diabetes. Again, the foundations matter. You will lose bone density if you lose a ton of weight. That's just physics. So it's super important to continue to target a daily calcium intake of 1,000 to 1,200 milligrams. If you're not getting that through like yogurt, cheese, milk, things like that, some dairy products, then I mean you can also get it through lots of meats and vegetables and stuff. But supplementing with calcium, vitamin D, you want your vitamin D between 40 and 80. Anything below 30 is no bueno. This is a really cheap, easy lab. It should be included in your standard panels. If it's not, reach out to me. I always include it on my labs. And then you should be resistance training 3 times a week. Get some weights. There are an unlimited amount of workouts online. All you have to do, if you don't have weights at home, get some weights. You don't need a gym membership. You can do it at your house. Get yourself some weights. Go on Nextdoor, go on Facebook Marketplace. People are always selling used kettlebells, used weights. Go get them. They're cheap. It's easy. Go do it. Eat some protein. Okay. I'm going to talk about it's not just that easy, right? It's just not that easy. Hey, go start exercising, eat your protein, right? How do you actually change these behaviors? How do you change your mindset so that these things become easier for you to do? How do they become habit? How do you actually train your brain so that you actually are pursuing it? It doesn't feel like a struggle, it doesn't feel like a challenge, it doesn't feel like, you're sacrificing something else and you're not enjoying your life because you have to do these things, right? This is the behavior part that nobody talks about. They're telling you what to do. There's no shortage of information about people telling you what to do, but the how of integrating it into your life, that is why it's difficult. These drugs are amazing. For once in your life, it's removing this huge hurdle of being hungry all the time to lose weight, right? Why is it so hard to lose weight? Because we're hungry, because it's hard, because it's attached to our reward cycles, it's attached to how we enjoy life. Right. And so anytime we're cutting back on eating and trying to diet and reducing our calorie intake, we feel deprived, not only mentally, just like giving up alcohol. That's why my coaching background in alcohol is so helpful around food. It's because it's a belief, it's a mindset that you are somehow denying yourself joy in life by eating less, by not having the ice cream, by, not eating the carbs and things like that. You're like, "Oh, I can't have these things," right? But for once with the GLP-1, it kind of reduces that friction. It's reducing that food noise, that desire to eat all the time. And people think that's the only leverage point is I just need to continue to up my dose so that I don't have any desire to eat so I'm not hungry. And people are making a huge mistake here because they think as long as I'm not eating, that's great. That means I'm getting healthier because I'm losing the weight. Wrong. Healthy does not mean less. It does not mean smaller. It does not mean less calories. Healthy means nourished. And so that type of shift in the way you think about food and the way you think about nourishing yourself has to change. You have to educate yourself and you have to really start getting curious about the beliefs that are attached to what food, what alcohol, what enjoying yourself means. You have to get curious like, why am I rewarding myself with food? Why do I think that's how, like on vacation, I'm going to let myself have these things? Why is that a reward if it actually does make you feel like shit? Alcohol, bad food, processed food, all these things, right? In the moment, it might taste good, it might be fleeting, it might feel good, and then later you pay for it and you don't feel so good. That's another reason why these drugs can be so powerful, is it is kind of a self-reinforcing loop because when you start to eat the bad stuff, the heavier food, the fast food, the junk food and stuff, you don't feel good because your digestion, your motility has slowed down and those toxins and those foods sit in there longer and they make you feel yucky, right? And so you start to go, huh, I don't want to eat those foods anymore. I want to eat, whoa, isn't that interesting? I feel pretty good when I'm leaning into eating healthier, more nutritious food. And I don't feel great when I'm ordering, the fast food or whatever. So again, these are incredibly powerful, but they have to be utilized correctly, and we have to just overcome this desire to up the dose if we feel hunger creeping back in. You need hunger. That is your body telling you, I need nutrients to build your body, right? What kind of body are you building? Out of what nutrients? Out of what information are you giving it? And so we're going to get more into this, but I wanted to break down a couple of the different types of GLP-1s that are available right now. I carry in my practice two of them. There is three, like obviously out there, but the two that my pharmacy carries, semaglutide and tirzepatide. I will talk more about those because those are the ones that are approved right now for my pharmacy to dispense. So, the first one, GLP-1, works on one receptor. That is semaglutide. Pharmaceutical names of these are Wegovy and Ozempic. So they are designed to reduce hunger, right? You typically get a 10 to 15% weight loss. Now, side effects vary. The results people are getting, whether they have extreme weight loss or a little bit of weight loss, whether they have extreme side effects or no side effects, are super gene dependent. Not one, every person is going to have a different experience. A lot of it is determined by genes, a lot of it is determined by their pre existing gut health, their pre existing metabolism, their thyroid health, all of these things. If you have entered into the world of GLP-1s without baseline labs, you are missing an opportunity to, again, track how to also improve your metabolism outside, again, of just simply the weight loss and the hunger suppression. There are other components here of your metabolism that are the reason you are struggling to lose weight in the first place. There is a biology, there is a system underlying all of this that was slightly working against you. And you got to figure out what that is instead of just blindly slapping this drug on it and not exploring all the other aspects of your metabolism and understanding, hey, it's just like a synthesizer machine. There are little things we can do. Sometimes it's as simple as a couple micronutrients. Most people I test are zinc and magnesium deficient. Those two are so important to so many different processes in your body that simply raising the floor on those two nutrients can fix so many things downstream. So, all right, let me get back to the second iteration of these drugs, and it's not necessarily a GLP-1. They call them GLP-2s because this one works on two receptors. This is tirzepatide. I think the pharmaceutical names of these are Mounjaro and Zepbound. Now, both of these type drugs, semaglutide and tirzepatide, can be compounded by 503A and 503B pharmacies. And that's where you see people like me being able to dispense them. I operate under a physician. We get a prescription and we use an accredited pharmacy to make these for you. Now, this one, tirzepatide, it suppresses appetite and it directly also influences fat cells. It improves their ability to burn stored fat during a fasted state. It makes you basically more metabolically flexible. All right. And so these ones result in 20% weight loss. So it's a bit of a step up from a semaglutide, but some people actually still do better on a semaglutide versus a tirzepatide. It really is person specific. And so if you didn't do well on one, you might want to try the other because, again, they work on different pathways, they work on different receptors. And so people might need help or more support with one or the other or both. Now, the third one that is not FDA approved yet, that is still in trials, that is Eli Lilly. Is set to, I think, come out with it probably early 2027, is retatrutide. That one is a triple agonist, meaning it's working on three different receptors. It works on GLP-1, GIP, and glucagon. Oh, I forgot to say that. Tirzepatide works on GLP-1 and GIP. Retatrutide works on GLP-1, GIP, and glucagon. So it increases your metabolic rate and energy expenditure. This one results in 24% weight loss. So it is the strongest or most effective, if you will. But again, it really is person specific and which receptors, which pathways in their body they need the most support with. Okay. So depending on your use of these things, again, the goal is to try and stay on the minimum effective dose that allows you. What I would like is staying in that, You experience mild appetite suppression, but you are still interested in food. You are still interested in cooking for your family and preparing meals, shopping. You still have desire to eat, but when you do eat, you're eating about 25% less. You're not finishing your plate. Your normal portions, you're eating just less, but you still have a desire to eat on a regular schedule. And that way you can stay nourished and you can stay fueled, and you're not going to feel depleted and start to lose muscle mass because you aren't feeding yourself enough. Okay. So let's talk about some of these other amazing benefits of these drugs. Brain health and Alzheimer's prevention. Okay. They have now found that higher GLP-1 levels are associated with less amyloid accumulation in the brain. So, amyloid accumulation is what they are finding in the brains of Alzheimer's patients. And so, when there is less of that, because you have what they're finding is basically higher levels of GLP-1 in the brain, you have less accumulation of that amyloid. GLP-1s also improve insulin sensitivity, specifically within the brain. And so they have called Alzheimer's diabetes type 3, which is essentially insulin resistance within the brain, within the tissues of the brain. This could potentially decrease tau tangles. So when you start to improve insulin sensitivity in the brain, you decrease tau tangles. Another defining feature of a Alzheimer's brain are these tau tangles on the brain. So again, what does that mean in summary? GLP-1s can potentially decrease amyloid and decrease tau, two markers of an Alzheimer's brain. This is actually why I'm considering the use of a GLP-1 long term, because I have an Alzheimer's gene, the ApoE4 gene, which makes me at a higher risk statistically of developing Alzheimer's. My dad has the same gene. My aunt, who is 80 years old, is been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and my parents have been going through the process of being a caretaker for her. And it's been really incredibly sad to watch, especially knowing everything that I know and all the different strategies and methodologies to help with, and watching just how little her doctors up in Yakima, Washington are able to do for her, and how ineffective the drugs are. And that these simple foundational things like diet, exercise, sleep habits, staying social, little activities, and then the use of these GLP-1s. And of course, there's a couple other nutrients that are really critical, omega 3s, DHA in particular. Anyways, I could go on and on about Alzheimer's. So maybe I'll do a whole episode on that. But I'm very deep in this science because it is very personal to me. My sister is actually a double ApoE4 carrier, which means she got one from my mom and one from my dad. And that's only 2% of the population that has that. And so she is at a very, very high risk of developing Alzheimer's, but we have a long runway with her. She's only 40. How old is she? 42, about to be 42. And so we are doing all of the cool things, including a GLP-1, and all of the nutrients and things to prevent that in her. A couple other benefits of GLP-1s, they are now being associated with a thickening of cartilage in humans, which is improving osteoarthritis. In heart health, it appears to improve heart health, including cardiovascular disease, heart attack, and stroke. Obviously, the biggest drivers here are better blood sugar control, loss of body fat, lowering of triglycerides, and lowering of blood pressure. All of my clients on a GLP-1, I see these markers come down consistently over time. It is incredible to watch. Especially when they are doing it the right way, again, slow and steady, and they are still nourishing themselves. So, again, these are not just weight loss drugs, these go far beyond. And so, how do we continue? I'm sorry, how do we optimize the right dose for you? Again, people want to be able to feel that it's working. And for them, that means I have to have some sort of side effect. I almost have to feel this almost nausea or blunted appetite, like having no desire to eat in order to be like, okay, it's working. And so I don't want them in that place. I want you in a place. And again, there's always an acclimating point when you first start one of these because it's new. And so in the beginning, yeah, you're going to feel that a little bit stronger. But ideally, We want you to acclimate to that and to be able to eat normally or what, have a normal appetite. I don't want you being like, I have zero interest in food. I have no interest in food. That's not where we want to be because then you can't nourish, then you can't fuel yourself to work out effectively. The goal here is to come out healthier, not just skinnier. And so, what is the big problem? Most people are eating less but not eating healthier and or better. Now, this was a challenge before you ever started a GLP-1. This is a challenge because eating healthy is hard. You have to have time to shop healthy ingredients. You have to have inspiration and recipes. You have to know how to cook or you have to have somebody cooking for you that also is supportive of your goals and you have to have an environment that's all conducive to this, right? It's a family it's a family challenge. It's not just like you, right? And so that's why being a mom and trying to cook for your family, trying to cook healthy for your family, and not just be like, hey, everybody's going to eat a salad tonight. Like, no, you would need to have nutrient diverse plants, grains, starches, proteins, healthy fats, right? We don't want to kill your desire to prepare healthy meals. And so, again, these barriers existed before the barriers of time, the barriers of energy. I did not start out a cook. I learned how to cook literally in my late adulthood. I was a terrible cook, but I did watch a lot of cooking shows. And I've actually learned how to cook a lot from Instagram just because they make it seem so easy, following recipes that seem so fast and simple and easy. So much of cooking is inspiration. And so I really encourage you to get on Instagram and start following some healthy accounts, healthy cooking accounts, and just start getting inspired. And again, part of being inspired is that you have an appetite. You want to eat. And so getting your dose to a place where you're like, okay, I am I'm under where I think I actually need to be. I am underdosing to the point where I feel too much of an appetite suppression. And so I like to keep people on a microdose. That is essentially what we do. So that while you are eating less, you are still have a you again, you have a desire to eat, but you have to make every meal super nutrient dense because you are eating less calories. Every calorie counts. Every calorie is that much more important um, in order to fuel your body. And so here are some of my biggest behavior helpers, okay? Time savers. I'm a mom, I'm super busy, I'm working, I'm get kids taking them to sports school, all the things, right? I am not uniquely better set up for this. I struggle with these things all the time. So here are my time savers. So for it's very similar to committing to not drinking, and I talk to my clients about this. You start your day off saying, I am not going to drink today and I'm going to close the door. This is habit stacking, right? You are setting up your day right out the get go to prepare yourself to eat healthy all day long or to not drink. I'm trying to flip flop between the two here. But essentially, I want you to pick three healthy breakfasts, protein filled, fiber filled, color, which is like fruit in there, nuts, seeds, healthy fats that you can commit to 3 days. Find three breakfasts that you like and that you can rotate so that you don't get bored, that are easy, you always have them in your fridge. For me, that is a yogurt bowl, and I make a protein yogurt bowl. I combine a Greek yogurt with a scoop of protein powder. I add whatever berries I have on hand. I add in nuts and seeds. I use Bia seed cycling blends because these help me maintain hormone balance. Um, I throw in a keto granola that is again more nuts and seeds, and it packs like 35 to 40 grams of protein in my breakfast, and I'm getting tons of antioxidants. I'm getting healthy fats from the nuts and seeds. I'm getting color from the berries. It's a perfect breakfast. So that is one of my go-to breakfasts. I also make a protein oatmeal, like overnight oats, that is really good. And I also like to make eggs with whatever leftover sweet potatoes or veggies that I have in my fridge from dinner the night before. And so those are my like kind of three rotating breakfasts so that I don't get sick of it. It's always something I have quick and easy in the fridge. And I know I'm going to hit my protein goal so that I'm not always counting things and trying to track macros. Just pick 3 breakfasts you like and you can put on repeat, make them easy in your house. That's how you start your day. A banging breakfast, high protein, right? And if you're like, "I'm not hungry for breakfast," that's okay. You can, you know, intermittent fast slightly for a while, but I wouldn't do it if you're gonna be working out. I would still fuel yourself with a little carbohydrate. Sometimes if I'm not super hungry, but I wanna work out, I do half a banana just to give myself a little carbohydrate so I have energy, so it tells my brain and body, "Hey, you've got some carbohydrate here and it'll fuel my workout." I also start my day with a matcha collagen latte. It's on Amazon. It's a keto matcha latte. Just search that up. It's got 10 grams of collagen. Now, collagen is not a complete protein, so you can't really count that towards your total uh, protein for the day, but that's okay. I also do strong coffee, which is another collagen. Um, it is another collagen boosting protein coffee. 1 second, my son is calling me back. So the joys of summer. That was my 15-year-old calling to turn off his app limits because I still do screen time and app limits for him because he's 15 and he needs boundaries and limits still. So back to my breakfast. So I do strong coffee. It's another coffee mix slash collagen to get. And I think that one has 15 grams of collagen. So I'm drinking that right now as I record this episode. So those are like some quick hits for breakfast to start your day right out the gate on the right foot. Okay, again, I'm okay with intermittent fasting as long as you are gonna hit your goals for the day, but the people that are waking up and they're like, "I'm just not hungry," and then they use it to kinda be like, "Oh, this is great. I'm not eating. I'm gonna have no desire to eat." And then they get to a point where they haven't eaten and it's like 2 or 3 o'clock. It's not an intentional fast. It's more like, "Oops, I just forgot to eat fast." And then the next thing they put in their body isn't super nutritious because they're like, "Oh, I didn't eat all day. I guess it's okay if I have the nachos right now or if I just eat a protein bar and then just keep powering through my day." We want to try again changing our relationship with food so that we are looking for nutrition. We are looking for healthy fats, protein, fiber, color, all of these things, all of nature's medicine to build your body. What are you building your body out of? I love this analogy of like the three little pigs, right? Who and I can't remember what they each built their houses out of, right? But what you are putting into your body, your cells are blindly reaching into your bloodstream to build your body out of these ingredients. And so I used to joke with my son who was into Takis for a long time. I'm like, you are building your body out of Takis. What kind of body does that produce? Like what a Taki body? Like what is that? What do you think that looks like? What do you think that feels like? Right? Is a do you think any of these, athletes that they adore on TV, do you think that they are building their bodies out of Takis, right? And so the same goes for all of you clients and women out there and men who sometimes are just surviving on protein bars and being like, "Well, I'm getting my protein, but I haven't put anything whole or real food in my body in, 10, 12 hours." And it's like, "Hey, that's not how you build a healthy body." Protein bars in a pinch are okay, but they're largely processed and and so you're building your body out of processed ingredients that are hard on the gut. That again, it's really confusing to your cells that are like, what are these ingredients? Because it's not real food, it's not whole food, and it's lacking in a ton of minerals and vitamins. And so we want to give our bodies and brains whole food, whole real nutrition, so that you can build your body out of whole food. Um, all right. So, breakfast, commit to your breakfast. For lunches, this is a real behavior change hack lunches are one of the hardest for me because I am working and I am on the run a lot. And so I like having a healthy meal already done in my fridge. I use a meal service called Thistle. It's super affordable. It is nutritionist approved. It has a perfect balance of protein, fiber, and healthy fats. And They are veggie forward, but they have protein. You can do a vegan option, do a vegetarian option, but I do the meat options. And they are delicious. There's tons of variety. It's amazing for gut health. And I know, again, guaranteed, boom, I have a healthy lunch in there. They are cheap, so I'm not ordering out all the time. And I know it's there. Again, no brainer, super easy for me to do, and it's always there. So that's for my lunch. Now, dinner. Again, dinner is a commitment. You have to prepare if you're gonna be ready to cook for your family and ready to cook for yourself. Food, dinner cannot be an afterthought, and it has been for me for a really, really, really long time. I had to start preparing. Again, when I'm scrolling on Instagram, I'm scrolling dinner recipes and I'm saving them to an app called Resimi. Then write this one down. This is another amazing hack. The app is called Resimi instead of recipe, Resimi. It's $5 a month, and any recipe I like on Instagram, I just send it to the app. It organizes the recipe. I can add it to a grocery list. And then anytime I like, hey, I have some chicken thighs in the fridge, I can go into the app, type in chicken, and it'll pull up all of the chicken recipes that I have saved. That way I have inspiration, and then it'll tell me, here's the groceries you need. I use Amazon Grocery all the time. I prefer it because I like efficiency and I can go boop, 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 boom, add all those things to my Amazon cart, and I can have that stuff delivered and cook dinner that evening. So honestly, that is how I get all the ingredients, all of the dinner prepared while still being busy and like not having to go to the store. I hate going to the store. I find it wildly inefficient. I get really distracted. I get lost in stores. I start buying things impulsively. That's why it's like I use this app. It builds the recipe for me. I go get those specific ingredients. Boom, I have it delivered, and then I start to make my dinner. And honestly, a lot of these dinners are ready in 30 minutes or less. That is just how I function with my kids and family. We're rarely sitting down together. I make these things so they can be reheated for the kids, that there's food ready after school. A lot of times I'm making dinner before the kids even get out of school so that they have like a dinner, that lunch dinner thing. They have something to eat then, and then oftentimes they're getting back later from their practices. This is more during the school year. And then they have like another, either the second serving of that, or sometimes I do like a second protein for them, or like a protein shake at night, because that's what you do when you have athletes. Um, Again, habit stacking. Okay. So I learned how to cook, honestly, watching Instagram. I think one of the biggest barriers to learning how to cook is having all of the ingredients in your pantry, because it'll be like, oh, I need this really obscure ingredient like, tamari, or, it'll just be some random thing that you don't have and you've never used before. And you're like, all of a sudden now I got to go buy all these different random sauces or cornstarch or, super interesting little things that you've never used before. And so once you start using this app and you start kind of stocking your pantry and you're like, oh, I actually have that. So now the next time I see a recipe, I maybe don't need to go buy 10 different things. I already have 7 of them in my pantry ready to go. So don't get intimidated when a recipe calls for like ingredients you've never used before that are kind of pantry like items. I use a lot of nutritional yeast. I love a lot of Asian flavors, and there's all sorts of funky ingredients and Asian flavors that I was like, I don't know what that is. I've never used that before. And so once you start building that, all of a sudden it gets so much easier to build really creative, super flavorful, yummy, yummy dishes. Um, a note on habit stacking. Okay. James Clear is one of my favorite books, Atomic Habits. This is the trick to habit stacking. When you really are like, I want to get in a habit of making more dinners for my family, here's the trick, the 4 laws, according to him. Number 1, make it visible and obvious. This goal of wanting to cook and make dinner for your family obvious and make a nutritious meal, for me, that's like changing my feed to reflect my goals of eating a really healthy dinner. I'm not following bullshit. I'm following things that help me be a better person. So making it obvious every time I pick up my phone and scroll on Instagram, it's reinforcing this goal of good food. Ooh, I want to try that tonight. Boom, 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 and commit to it. Like, all right. So, and make it attractive, right? I know attractive to me is a thought process. I know when I eat these good foods and I plan ahead. I know when I plan ahead for dinner early in the day and I get the dinner started early, maybe in a crock pot, or I ordered the groceries that need to be delivered early in the afternoon, early in the morning, right? I feel good about myself because that is off my plate. I'm like, dinner is solved. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to panic. I already have it organized and ready to go. Number three, make it really easy for yourself. Again, for me, oh, I forgot to mention some of my easy food tricks. I also use these meat delivery boxes. One of them is called Wild Pastures. It is organic, regenerative farmed meat, chicken, beef, pork, whatever you get to curate your box. It is super affordable, especially if you are already sourcing really healthy meat at like high end grocery stores like Whole Foods or Bristol Farms or Lazy Acres. This is Southern California. That's what we have. Meat gets expensive. This box makes it affordable. I would say it's saving you money compared to shopping at those places. And that way I always have a protein. So first thing in the morning, I usually go and I pick out a meat or two. I start defrosting on it. I get on Instagram at whatever point of the day when I'm scrolling, and I get inspired by a recipe with what I have going on. I get the ingredients. A lot of times I already have the ingredients. I know regularly what I like to eat. I have some staple vegetables. I have some staple starches, staple healthy fats, boom, 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 and you've got a meal ready to go, easy peasy. Um, Again, so for me, makes it super, super easy. I also use a fish company called Seatopia. I've talked about them a lot. The best salmon you will ever taste. This is something you pay a premium for, but that's what clean salmon costs. Plastic free. It's super high in omega-3 healthy fats. Love Seatopia. Okay, so for me, that's what makes it easier cooking meals for my family. And then the last one is make it satisfying. Okay, I know how satisfied I feel when my family is eating a healthy meal at night and we didn't order out and they didn't, this summer, of course, it's so hard. They always want to go eat out with their friends. Their friends influence them, of course, and they all want to eat Chick-fil-A and they want to eat Takis and they want to go get pizza and they want to get whatever it is. And it's not ideal. It's definitely not ideal. I'm working against that constantly. So when I have this opportunity to cook a good meal for my family, and I'm like, it's just one notch in my column. It's like me against their food world. And it's like, that is so satisfying. It's also really satisfying when their friends come over and I end up feeding a lot of their friends and they're super stoked to have like a good meal and they get excited about being at our house because we always have good food going. And yeah, that costs money. And yeah, that's a commitment and it's messy. My kitchen, it is a disaster. I'm not going to lie. I have a small kitchen. I don't have a chef's kitchen. It's always filled with dishes. But honestly, it is incredibly satisfying knowing what I know about food and health and to see my kids eating good food is just like, yes, I'm doing something right. Super, super satisfying. Okay. On the flip side of trying to break a bad habit, like eating junk food, if you're not eating all day on a GLP-1 and then you're like eating shit because you're like, well, I didn't eat all day. I guess I can have the chips. I've done that before too. I know what that is. The dose wasn't right. The medicine wasn't right. Change your dose, change your medicine. If you're not getting this type of attention from somebody, come work with me. This is what I do. I can help you optimize a GLP-1. I lost 20 pounds in a year and I put on 8% muscle mass. It was slow, it was steady, it was less than a pound, it was less than 2 pounds a month. But the result after a year is my entire body composition has changed, and I can help you do this too. I can help inspire you. I can help break these old habits, these old beliefs around food, around alcohol, and help you optimize this type of medicine. All right. So, another one of the blocks, I'm running out of time because I'm rambling today. And then one of the issues people have not exercising. Again, this same problem existed before you were on a GLP-1. But the trap that people fall victim to now is that they are losing weight and still without exercising because they're in a calorie deficit. And so they think, I guess I don't have to exercise. This is flawed thinking. They're like, oh man, I'm still losing weight and I haven't really been to the gym. Or maybe they feel so tired and depleted because their dose is too high and they're undernourished that they don't have the energy to work out. So again, fine tuning your dose, taking less than you think you want, getting that appetite back up so you can nourish yourself and actually work on your metabolism, the foundations. Again, this is why working with a nutritionist with your GLP-1 is so key, right? If you are just buying your stuff online or even working with a doctor who doesn't have some type of integrated follow-up plan with you to inspire you and encourage you and get you engaged in the process of changing your relationship with food, with alcohol, then you're missing this huge opportunity of what these tools can be used for. Oh, amazing. These drugs can also really help with alcohol cessation, with curbing your desire and cravings to drink. Just like they quiet food noise, they quiet booze noise. It works, it's effective, and you can really leverage this, especially with a coach like me. I am originally an alcohol-free life coach, and I know all the tricks and all the hacks to change how you think and feel about alcohol so you don't feel deprived. All right, back to the exercise. Okay. Home workouts is where it's at. It is a heavy lift to try to get to a gym. Gym memberships are expensive, or to get to an exercise class. Home workouts are where it's at. If you're like, I can't motivate at home, stop telling yourself that. Change how you think and feel. Why can't I be a person who works out at home? Why can't I be the person who has 20 minutes in their day and goes, you know what? I've got 20 minutes. I've got weights. I've got Instagram. Instead of scrolling some bullshit, I don't know, stuff on Instagram, you again curate your feed to be good food and good fitness, at home workouts. There are so many amazing content creators around at home fitness that, again, you don't have to just all of a sudden be like, I have to start lifting heavy and doing all these crazy things. There are so many ways to baby step you into it. Again, this is what I do with my clients. I do it myself. I make videos myself. And, if the biggest thing if you don't have weights at home, get on Facebook Marketplace right now. Go buy some used weights. Go to Target and find some weights. And I'm not talking about 5-pound weights. I'm not talking about 8-pound weights. I'm getting 10 plus 15-pound, 20-pound weights. Okay. Again, that's my range of weights, but it has to be something that's challenging to you. We are not working on endurance of the muscle, which is like, hey, I can do 15, 20, 30 reps, like kind of like Pilates style weights. Love Pilates, love yoga. I do yoga 3 days a week, hot yoga, do a lot of Pilates moves in the yoga classes, but you need heavier weights to actually stimulate that type of muscle growth. And again, that I'm doing that with 15 to 20 pounds. That's what it takes for me. I could probably start upping my weight right now. And I need to do that more progressive overload stuff. But if you don't have that yet, if you're not lifting weights, that is a really easy place to start. Okay. And again, I can do this with you in my programs. I can get you inspired. I can get you on a program. And this can be it's a habit that you can curate in yourself and that will feel good. Exercise feels good. Again, we will make this workout habit, make it visible and obvious to you because you have weights sitting there in your house ready to go. Make it attractive. I feel amazing when I'm working out. I know I'm going to feel great when I just start baby stepping my way into doing some weights. Make it easy. Again, this is easy. There's on Instagram, there is a countless variety. I save these. I save my workouts to a folder that just says workouts. I pop one up, whatever one I'm feeling that day, I do it. This is so easy to me. You don't need a gym membership. You don't need to spend a lot of money on, classes and things like that. It's all free. It's all available for free on the Instagram. All you need to do is get some gear for your house, a yoga mat, some weights. That is all you need. Make it satisfying. Again, how good are you going to feel when you're saving money because you are working out at home? I go work out on my deck in the summer. I get a tan. I listen to podcasts. I make it super satisfying. It is enjoyable for me to work out on my deck and listening to a podcast. Again, I'm surrounding myself with information that shapes me into the person that I want to be, right? My kids see me do this. They have a foundation of exercise and healthy living that is going to be embedded in them for life because they see me living this. It is awesome. All right. So, home workouts are where it's at, habit stacking, and your belief structure. This takes me into mindset. This is the third piece about, these behavior change that people aren't addressing enough. Okay. Again, it is so incredibly powerful to have the food noise turned down by these drugs and to feel like finally, I am able to get some success in the weight loss department. It is just like, oh, that feels so good. But we still can't use it as a free pass to ignore all of these other foundational things, the things that have been challenging to you in the beginning, right? Like the lack of time and energy, the mindset around what it means to give up, quote unquote, yummy food, the carbs, the treats, the desserts, the alcohol, right? We feel like we are depriving ourselves when we are trying to eat less, when we are trying to drink less. And I want to take you from a mindset of that you are not sacrificing anything You are not depriving yourself of anything. You are gaining and you are becoming empowered. Okay. This is a huge shift because, again, healthy doesn't mean just less, smaller, and just no appetite. Healthy means nourished, right? A lot of times when I'm working with my alcohol clients, I have them set a feeling goal. How do you want to feel instead of like, I want to be skinnier? It's like, how do you want to feel? I want to feel nourished mind, body, and soul. And guess what? Eating a bunch of shit doesn't help me do that. Drinking alcohol doesn't help me do that, right? And so you define the feeling that you're after, and when you are pursuing a feeling goal versus some sort of like, I wanna lose weight, when I say I wanna lose weight, that immediately brings up feelings of deprivation, and that drains me of energy. But when I say I wanna feel nourished, mind, body, and soul, that feels really good, and that type of goal fuels you, and it's easier to focus on it because it's brings energy in instead of draining you of energy, instead of bringing up feelings of deprivation, okay? And the beliefs underlying your attachment to food and your attachment to alcohol, that is what is driving these cravings for anything, right? Or this just like, oh, I can't believe I have to give up these things, right? Why do we do anything? We do it because we feel like it. Why do we feel like things? At the end of the day, the cravings take over. Well, I felt like it. You know what? I just felt like it. Why do we feel like that? That is a subconscious belief that is driving that behavior. It is saying, I deserve this. This is my reward. This has been really hard. I'm going to reward myself with this thing. I'm on vacation. I'm going to reward myself with the shitty food and the drink because I've somehow believed that that is what it means to enjoy my life. Now, I want you to get really curious and examine those beliefs. The same things we think about alcohol, we often think about food, right? That it's a reward, that it's going to help me relax. Like, this is how I treat myself. This is how I indulge myself. Oh, you broke up with your boyfriend. Let's get a pint of ice cream and a bottle of wine. It's all mixed up in this big baggage of beliefs that we've never really challenged. We've never really examined for truth, for validity, and how those beliefs actually serve you. If it is not serving you, when you examine that belief that, like, I can't really enjoy my life unless I'm drinking alcohol, is that really true? And is that really serving you? Fuck yeah, you can enjoy your life without alcohol. I'm a living example of it. And anyone, when you were a kid, that's all the evidence you need. You didn't need alcohol to have a good time, especially in the summer, right? You had the best time of your life. I'm witnessing my kids have the best time of their life. No alcohol needed, right? So the mindset, you have to start understanding, like, anytime you're feeling deprived, time you're feeling like you're giving up something, there is a belief underlying that, driving that. And you got to get curious about it and ask yourself, man, is this belief helping me or hurting me? Because you can rewrite those stories, you can rewrite those beliefs, and you can say, hey, this is the person that I want to be. I want to be somebody who feels nourished, who feels joyful, who feels social and connected to others without the alcohol, without the shitty food. Right? It's not about living in this super strict world. People might misunderstand that it's like, hey, unless you're like perfect and you're optimizing, you're doing all these things. It is more about, I feel better doing these things. And I so fully believe that now, that nothing feels like a sacrifice or deprivation to me. I feel fully satisfied, nourished, and happy eating the way I do. And doesn't mean I don't ever eat french fries or pizza or all those things, right, you guys? But I'm not obsessed with this idea that I'm sacrificing anything when I choose 80% of the time to not eat those things and to eat all the really healthy, nourishing food that I do. Okay? So that is the mindset I want you to embrace. And this is the type of work I do with my clients. And again, what kind of body are you building? Are you just building a skinnier, smaller body? Or are you building a healthier, nourished, a body and brain for longevity, right? What kind of gas are you putting in your car? What are you building your house out of, like the three little piggies? You have this opportunity to choose wisely. Are you going to deplete yourself or are you going to nourish yourself, right? And if you don't know how to nourish yourself, if you need a coach like me, if you need somebody to help you say, hey, let's do some baseline biomarkers on you and understand where are you depleted? Where is your metabolism struggling? And it might be that the GLP-1 is often maybe making things a little bit worse before it makes things better. There are definitely biomarkers that are going to improve. You're going to see your cholesterol improve. You're going to see your ApoB improve. You're going to see your triglycerides and your fasting blood sugar and your insulin improve on a GLP-1. But you often will see hormone health and thyroid health get a little wonky for women if they are under nourishing. Even men. Men start to see their testosterone tank, their thyroid tank, when they are under nourishing on a GLP-1 as well. So again, you have this opportunity to choose wisely, to use these drugs in a super intelligent and smart way that turns them into not just weight loss drugs, to longevity drugs. But it doesn't come without working on the foundations. I want to be so super clear. And if you don't know how to work on the foundations, because you're like, God, this is like so complex. It's not complex, but you do need to surround yourself with content. You need to surround yourself with a coach. You need to have the support, because if nothing changes, then nothing changes. I used to say this all the time in my alcohol coaching. If you're just slapping a GLP-1 on things and hoping that all these other things tied to your metabolism are just magically going to get better, that you're all of a sudden magically going to want to have healthy food in your fridge and prepare healthy meals for your kids. Like, that's one of the biggest things I see with these women is like they don't want to eat. And so they stop cooking for their families, and then they're okay with their kids just eating out and eating shit. Like, I knew I was on the wrong dose in the beginning. I started on semaglutide a long time ago, like over a year ago, and I didn't feel good. I felt terrible and I didn't wanna cook, and I was like, "This is not gonna work for me and my family." As much as I was like, "Oh my god, I have no appetite. This is great." I was like, "I need to be able to feed my family. I want to be able to cook again." So I got off that right away, and I found out that tirzepatide was a better one for me, a microdose of tirzepatide, where I have what I feel like is no appetite suppression. I still want to eat. I still want to cook. I still want to prepare meals. I'm still interested in food, cooking for my family, but I just eat less. I just eat less, and I ate less over the course of a year, and that resulted in 20 pounds of weight loss. Again, I was inflamed. I had thyroid issues. I have Hashimoto's. I had some hormone issues going on. I have been working on all of those other independent biological systems to support. Again, it wasn't just a GLP-1. I had to fix my thyroid. I had to fix my hormones. I had to fix my stress, my adrenals. These are all things that I do inside my coaching program. Okay. It might sound complex, but it's really simple when you're working with someone like me, where I can start to teach you the foundations. I can show you the biomarkers. I can show you these levers that we can use. And I also have so many other tools outside of a GLP-1 when we cycle off a GLP-1 that we can use in the interim to work on your metabolism, to support um, all sorts of different things. I have a number of other peptides that we use in addition to a GLP-1 as well that really do accelerate your healing, your longevity, your metabolism. It's incredible. I love what I do. I'm so passionate about it. And I'm having success story after success story with my clients. And it's the best part of my job is to help you unlock this, change your relationship with food, change your relationship with alcohol, leverage these incredible medicines that are changing the future of health. And I can help you do it the right way. So if that inspires you today, go to my website, mycheatcodenutrition.com. Check out my metabolic reset. I would love to work with you and help you leverage all of this amazing stuff. Until next time, everybody, I'm with you. You got this. If you enjoyed today's episode, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend. You never know who might be one conversation away from starting their own health transformation. And if you're ready to stop guessing and start understanding your biology, the best place to begin is with Cheat Code Nutrition Labs. Your symptoms aren't random, they are biological data waiting to be understood. Whether you're struggling with fatigue, stubborn weight gain, hormone imbalances, digestive issues, brain fog, inflammation, poor recovery, or you simply want to optimize your health and longevity, our advanced lab testing helps uncover what's really going on beneath the surface. From there, you can choose your own adventure. Some clients continue into one of our 12-week optimization programs where we take a deep dive into your health with a personalized roadmap that may include nutrition, gut healing, lifestyle optimization, supplements, advanced testing, and of course, peptides when appropriate. Others prefer the flexibility of our Cheat Code Nutrition membership, This is where you get ongoing access to my guidance, preferred pricing on labs, testing, supplements, and peptides, and the ability to build your health strategy at your own pace with an expert support along the way. So, no matter where you're starting, the goal is the same, helping you understand your biology so you can make confident decisions and finally get results that make sense. If this sounds good to you, head on over to my website, mycheatcodenutrition.com, and explore my programs. Until next time, remember the smartest people aren't waiting for symptoms to become diagnoses. They're taking ownership of their health, staying curious, and using data to build a better future. I'll see you on the next episode.